Welcome back to our episode. Ryan and Kevin here with Chaos MMA. Today we have on Miranda Maverick, who's coming off a dominant win last weekend. Miranda, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. It's always great speaking with you. And what has life been like after that win last weekend? What have you been up to lately?
I've been eating whatever food I want, which then in turn ended up making me sick because my immune system is weak after weight cuts and everything and doesn't like sugar too much after 6 months of not having it. So, uh, fun and not so fun at the same time.
What have you been eating mostly?
Sweets. I love sweets.
Yeah, can't go wrong with that.
So let's get into your fight. Amazing fight again, great performance. But going into that fight Friday, she misses weight and then she comes back out, makes weight. We found out that she had to cut her hair in order to make weight. What was your reaction to that? That a girl has to cut off all of her hair, that dedication just to
Uh,
make weight.
Amusingly, I've actually had an opponent that had to cut off her hair before, except she cut it like all the way short.
Oh wow.
Um, picked the tournament the same time that I fought Shanna the first time. It was a different opponent though. In my opinion, I don't think she should be praised so much for making weight when that's our job. Everybody's giving her so much praise and respect to her for making weight and everything, cutting her hair, but I'm like, that's her
Yeah.
job. She could have
Yeah.
missed weight
Sure.
more, whatever. But she came in heavy at first with only 7 minutes left for her to come weigh in the first time, which was a little bit anxiety ridden considering that she got hospitalized the first time around that we were supposed to fight. And I was thinking to myself, not again, but she ended up coming, stepping on the scale a pound heavy, had another hour to make weight, came back, weighed in a second time, was 0.25 pounds overweight, and then they cut off the hair. And it was like the undercut side, so it didn't damage her too much for the hair. It was like the dreads that she had underneath her normal hair. So didn't hurt her too bad, I don't think. But she came in. I respect her for really trying to make the weight instead of just being like, whatever. But
Yeah.
at the same,
Yeah, so Miranda, you got to go into this fight thinking, all right, so this girl, she already missed weight, and now she's coming in, she's struggling to make this weight, and she has to literally cut off her hair to make this weight. Does that give you a mental advantage over your opponent because you just know she's having trouble even making it to this fight? Does that give you such an advantage that you just know you're basically
I,
gonna walk through here?
we fought at 125 a couple years back in 2019. I had already beaten her that time. That alone is a big edge, I think. And then the second time we were supposed to fight, August 20th, it got canceled because she got hospitalized trying to make weight. So I already knew that was going to be a big challenge for
Yeah.
her. We were prepared to do a catch weight if need be. I didn't care what weight I fought Shanna at. I would have fought her at 145. I don't care. And I think I would have had a clear advantage. So her coming in and missing weight did give me 3 hours head start from her as far as rehydrating, refueling, and getting ready to go. I actually came in Saturday lighter than I've ever came in to fight. I think I was 135 before I even got there, and then went to the bathroom and everything. Had to get drug tested, so I was probably about 132 walking into that arena, which was lower than I've ever been by about 5 pounds. But I felt good. I felt fast, and finally got my groove around the second round.
Yeah, it showed.
Yeah, so would you say this was probably one of like your best weight cuts yet? Because it seems like it all went well and like you were on weight once you hit that scale.
Yeah, I've had a lot of good weight cuts, to be honest. I don't know if this one was the best, but I definitely have a rhythm to where now I know how to do it. I'd say about 4 fights ago was the last time I ever had any trouble. And the whole time I've been in the UFC, I've had pretty simple, pretty straightforward weight cuts.
Yeah, well, the weight cut went good for you, and we got to speak about the fight now. Great win for yourself. You were basically better everywhere in this fight. Like, what are your thoughts on how this fight went? Like, what did you think about it all?
I thought my first round was kind of slow. I didn't have my timing or my range very good. I'm my worst critic when I go back and watch my fight. And that first round, I just got tagged more than I needed to. I only got hit about 3 times that were solid strikes, but still caught me off balance, or I'd come in without setting up a kick, that kind of thing. By the second round, I felt like I really had my game going. I really had like the movement down, the strikes that I wanted to land, had the takedowns when I wanted them. If I grabbed a hold of her, I knew I could take her down, and that's exactly what happened and dominated everywhere in the fight. Wish I would have gotten a finish. I think had I been dead set on getting one, I would have. Like if I would have just kept ground and pounding or just sought the submission the whole time. But this fight was about using new tools that I have and mixing everything together, striking while on the ground, going for submissions, keeping control the entire time, like we've been working on in camp. And I felt like I did a good job of showing that. And having a full 15 minutes to go back and look at for my team is actually really helpful for improving me for future fights.
Yeah, you showed again, once again, like you're a complete mixed martial artist. Like everything was on point. You were dominating from start to finish. But I gotta ask you, did you see the odds at all before the fight? Like, do you look at that at all? Like how big of a favorite you are? Or you kind of keep that to the side.
I don't really care, but I do look at it. I try
Parlay
to
bet.
watch all the interviews that she has. I try to look at predictions that people have. I think it just kind of gets me fired up. I almost love the ones that are always against me, because then I'm like, I'll show you. I'll show you how to fight.
More motivation. Yep.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. My
You're
computer.
good.
Well, Miranda, that's 2 straight wins for you now. So how much momentum are you gonna bring into your next fight that you have all these wins lined up?
I'm hoping a lot. It kind of depends on the opponent, how much we're going to be able to hype it up. Molly McCann fights Erin Blanchfield this weekend. As we all know, I lost to Erin. She was able to pretty much dominate me on the ground. I've really made improvements since then, and it was an off night for me. But no excuses. Erin's really good. She's making her way up the ladder. Now she's fighting Molly McCann, who I honestly think she'll submit in the first round. But we'll see how Molly does. Either way, I really want to fight Molly. I've called her out several times. She's never offered to take that up. And then she mouthed me back at her post fight interview last time. So we'll see if she backs up her talk and actually wants to fight or not. And
Yeah,
if Molly wants to wait or she wants to wait later in the year, then JoJo Wood is the next one I have my eye on.
yeah, then that's perfect you said that because that actually brings me into my next question. You win the fight, you call out Molly. Are you expecting the fight with Molly? Like you go out there and dominate like the or I'm sorry. She goes you go out there and win the fight, you call out Molly. Like you want that fight. Like that's the fight that needs to happen.
I think it does. I think fans will love it. We've been in a back and forth social media battle now for about 6 months to a year. Like,
You think
just
she'll
make
take
it
it though?
happen.
Do you
What?
think she'll take it though? Do you think she's gonna take that
I
fight?
don't know. She's already not taken it twice. We'll see what happens. But I think at this point, she's kind of cornered. Like, I've called her out several times, this time very publicly. And if she doesn't take it, then everybody knows she turned me down.
Yeah, and in that fight, why do you feel like out of everybody, because Molly, in perspective, she's with Patty Pimblett. She's has a lot of clout, if you want to say, in the UFC world. You know what I mean? So why do you feel like you match up well in a fight against her? I'm not saying the clout goes into the octagon. I'm just saying matchup wise. Why do you think you can beat her?
Far as she goes, she's a brawler. I think she has a lot more credit than she deserves. I think I've shown that I'm much more skillful, and she's already basically called me out and said she's ready to fight whenever I want to fight. And so, if that's the way it goes, I think we're both tough girls. I've never been finished. She was in the UFC for 5 years before anybody even knew her name. It
Yeah.
was only Patty that gave her any clout. So
Love it.
Yeah, I mean, leading up some trash talk we got, and you said you expect her to you expect her to lose to Erin first round submission. You were in there with Erin, so like, why do you feel like you just think Erin has like the wrestling advantage, the submission advantage over Molly McCann? Because Erin is actually a pretty big favorite, looking at the odds of this fight.
Molly's never really shown any grappling prowess whatsoever. She's shown some ground and pound in the past, but she's never gone against a good grappler and done well.
Yeah,
And that's all there is to it.
yeah. Well, you think she goes out there? Who knows what happens this weekend? Do you feel there's a better chance of you getting this fight if she wins or if she loses? Like, what are you expecting? Like, if she wins, do you think she'll even avoid you even more because she's gonna be like, I don't want to fight her for some reason?
I don't know. I really don't know. I think if she wins or loses, it's still a good fight to make for fans, for matchmakers. She might make the excuse of I'm not ranked high enough. How she's even ranked, I don't know. I think it's ridiculous that she's ranked right now after fighting two people and beating them who were not even close to the rankings, and one wasn't even a flyweight. So I don't know.
Well, we can't wait to see
Hey,
what's next.
well, I just want to say something, Miranda. So I truly believe this is the fight that needs to happen next. If Molly goes out and wins, I think you two. I think that's like the next fight. Two huge prospects.
I think so. I think so. I mean, they've already had, me fight Macy. I want to get that rematch back as soon as possible, but she doesn't want that to happen, which is understandable. They've already had me fight Jillian. She's another one of the younger girls. They've had me fight Erin. She's one of the younger girls. Like, all of us are still going to be here for a few more years. And I feel like Molly's kind of that missing piece as far as who I haven't fought yet that's in the same area of rankings.
Yeah, and do you have a specific like month where you want to get back in there? Like when are you looking to get back in there, regardless of who the opponent is?
I'd love to get back late January, early February. If Molly does come back and says she wants to fight, but she wants it to be next June, I'm probably gonna say no. Like, let's get me a fight sooner, and then I'll fight her down the road. But I want to fight pretty soon, like beginning of 2023. If there's an offer for the end of 2022, we'll see.
Well, I'm sure your fans can't wait. See you back in that octagon. You versus Molly McCann. I'm sure we all be tuning in. Be a great fight. The last thing here, Miranda. Thanks again for your time. We always do appreciate have you out on the show. We just got your prediction on upcoming fight. Who do you think wins next month in Yuri Prohashka versus Glover Teixeira 2? Who do you got in that fight?
Uh, Probably Yuri. I like Glover, but Yuri.
What about Izzy and Pereira coming up this weekend?
That one's hard. I think Izzy is gonna be. I think he's gonna come out on top. I think he's got a kind of a chip on his shoulder. I think it's gonna be one of those that I don't know. I wouldn't put money on it at all, but I think I would go with Izzy. I just think he's had more time in the actual cage. I think he has more MMA experience compared to Pereira. And Pereira's really been boosted up really fast because this was the fight to make. This is kind of like the bad blood fight that's easy to promote. But I think Izzy will walk away with the win, and I think we'll see a second fight between them again down the road.
Yeah. Well, thank you again so much, Miranda, for coming on. It's great having you on. Hope to have you on again. Good luck. Hopefully, I'm hoping Molly goes out and wins this fight because I really want to see you two fight each other. Like that's like the fight that has to happen. And I'm just so excited for you. You're doing great things. And
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that
ready.
happened. I'll actually be in New York this weekend, but I will not be watching the fights. I'll actually be on a flight back home by the time they're fighting, unfortunately, but I'm going to keep my eye on it.
Yeah. So if you want to shout out any sponsors, social media, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. If you guys want to go to fearthemaverick.net, I have a bunch of merchandise on there, including some of my new shirts that just came out and stuff after my fight. You can just order there, even message me if I don't have your size in stock. I probably do. I just got new inventory in that I haven't gotten updated yet. I also have patreon.com/fearthemaverick if you want to see like behind the scenes footage and stuff like that, all the way from weigh-ins to just daily life. And then thank you to all my sponsors, my team out here in Colorado, helping me get that win and ready for the next one.
Yeah. Well, thanks again. We can't wait for what's next for you. And thanks again for coming on. We'll catch up soon. Have a good one.
Thanks. Good night, guys.
Bye.